everybody. Welcome back to Dubious Knowledge. I am one of your hosts tonight, and with me, as always, on this program, I have Cori. How are you?
I'm doing well, Jason. Ready to
and
talk.
Yeah, this one's been a long time in the making. We're calling this Take Two because we originally recorded this way back as our episode 2. So this was originally going to drop right after Besmara, but due to some technical difficulties, we lost one of the members' audio tracks, and another's got kind of messed up, and yeah, it was a whole deal. But we have one of our original guests with us tonight. Tyler, what's happening?
Hey, how you doing, Jason? I'm doing really well tonight. I am very excited, actually, that we get to do this a second time. Because I just love talking about Pathfinder lore, and if I were to be a worshiper of any deity in the Golarion universe, it would be Desna. Like, Desna is life for me.
Hard same.
Love her lore, love what she's about, love everything about how she handles things, and even when she goes and veers off course from what she normally does, it's for a very good reason. She is confident, and I don't know, I love everything about her. So I'm glad that we're doing this again, I guess is my point. I don't want to hit all the main points on what I love about Desna in the first minute, but yeah, I'm excited.
Well, I'm glad everybody's doing well tonight. Unfortunately, Mike had to miss this episode. He had some work stuff come up, and he is actually at work right now. So, Mike, shout out to you. We'll get you back on next month for Urgathoa, hopefully, for the spooky season. Anyway, yeah, I'm glad everybody's doing well tonight. My leg is feeling really strange tonight. I don't know. So I'm in physical therapy. I broke my ankle, and I had to. So they're working on my left ankle, and today they did this really weird thing. I don't know if you have either of you been in physical therapy before?
No, never broken a bone in my body.
For my shoulder.
Okay. Yeah, I've done that too. I tore my rotator cuff once, and it sucked, and I had to go do physical therapy for that. But so, like, they're trying to re-stabilize my ankle because of, like, I broke it and I twisted it as I broke it, and so, like, stretched everything. But so they did this really weird thing. It's called BFR, so blood flow restriction. So they basically put a cuff around your upper thigh, which becomes like a tourniquet, and they basically, like, restrict all the blood flow in your leg, and they have you work out on that leg.
Interesting.
With all that blood flow restricted. So basically you're getting the equivalent of like 10 times the workout with with 10 times less the weight.
Interesting. And
yeah,
that's doing funny things to your leg?
It feels like I did leg day. Like, I went really, really hard and got a really heavy leg day on just my left leg.
Huh. That is strange.
Yeah. So, like, when I'm walking up the stairs, my left leg feels funky and weak and like a noodle, where my right leg feels just normal.
That sounds really odd.
Yeah. Anyway, I just had to get that off my chest because it's very strange.
Excuse me. Oh, goodness.
Bless you.
Sound check.
Sorry.
You were saying, Tyler, does it what?
I I don't know, the sneeze wiped my brain. I have no idea what I was going to say.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a really strange experience. I'd never done that before, so anyway, let's get into it. If I remember correctly, this was a really long episode last time, so let's
Yeah.
But then again, we don't have Mike or Heath with us this time too, so yeah.
We'll miss him. We'll miss him, but
We will.
Heath can lengthen conversations dramatically with his presence.
Yeah.
I could start the same way that I started last time, with a reading from a prayer carved on a shrine near Magnamar.
Mm-hmm. Sure, we'll get into that, and then we'll have Cori do the basics, the mechanic stuff.
Blessed is the long road, the destination, the homeward path, and all who make the journey. Let each dream be a bright star in the night sky of your mind, lighting your path in the day. I love that one. It's that is like the opening flavor tagline in the Inner Sea Gods, the original first edition Inner Sea Gods. Very succinct. Yeah, that's it right there, right at the top. Very succinct way of presenting the Desnan way of belief. Like, it is scratched on a Desnan shrine, which is, I'm sure we'll get into like temples and shrines and things like that later, but where it's scratched and just the content really lends to what Desna is about.
Yeah. Desna, also known as the Song of Spheres, the Great Dreamer, Starsong, the Tender of Dreams, Lady Luck, Resplendent, Goddess of Fortune, Goddess of the North Star, Mother Moon, and the Wandering Star. Lots of different names for her, but that's because she's been around forever. She is chaotic good. Her worshippers in 1E could be neutral, good, chaotic, neutral. Same as 2E, at least until November, when all of that goes
out the window.
Her domains in 1E were chaos, good, liberation, luck, and travel. Her domains in 2E are dreams, luck, moon, and travel, with alternate domains of stars and void. Her worshippers tend to be travelers, astronomers, gamblers, Varisians, musicians, and halflings. Her two primary centers of worship in the Inner Sea are Varisia and Idol. Favored weapon is a star knife, which, for those of you unfamiliar with Pathfinder weapons, is like if you took a 4-pointed shuriken and increased its size tenfold and put a handle in the middle.
Yeah, it's if you've seen the anime Naruto, they use it in that anime.
Okay, I have never seen Naruto.
Well, it's not exactly the star knife design, but you get the idea.
Yeah, exactly.
It's almost more like a that gets the point across, but specifically it's a metal ring with the handle and then 4 like knives affixed in the cross pattern or the 4-pointed star pattern. But yeah, it does look like just like an oversized Naruto shuriken.
Her sacred animal is the butterfly. Her holy symbol is a butterfly with astronomical symbols on the wings, stars and moons. Her sacred colors are blue and white, and her edicts are to aid fellow travelers, explore new places, express yourself through art and song, and find what life has to offer. Her anathema is to cause fear or despair, to cast nightmare or use similar magic to corrupt dreams, and to engage in bigoted behavior. She is absolutely my favorite goddess in the setting. I'm with Tyler on that if I were to worship anything, it would be her. And in fact, I've played multiple characters that worship Desna, and currently play a 15th level cleric of Desna?
Nice. Cloistered or war priest?
Cloistered.
Right?
Cloistered.
Yeah. That makes sense. Sense. From integrating Desna into character perspective, she works so well as a deity for an adventurer. Like, travel is part of her domain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Luck, the whole rolling a 20-sided die for, success related abilities. Luck is part of her domain as well. So it's this, slight nod to what you're doing at the table when you're playing games like Pathfinder anyways. She's just perfect for that.
Mm-hmm.
To be that, wandering traveler who just does good on the road.
Yeah. She's just, God, I love her so much. And, she is one of the oldest gods in the setting. Right up there with Pharasma. She was one of the first gods to spring out of nothing after Pharasma created the universe, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And she immediately started putting stars into the nothing, because that's
I love the thought, the idea of all of the progenitor deities as they are, sprung into life with / by Pharasma. The jury's still out on that whole thing. But how everyone else is doing, making physical items and races and different peoples out of the material plane. Desna just stared into the sky and bloop, bloop, dotting it with stars.
So one of the things that I think really draws me to Desna, and what I really like about her, is this idea that she's perceived by a lot of the other deities as just kind of this sort of flighty and,
aloof,
kind of airheaded and whatnot sort of deity, but at the same time, she can be really mercurial in that they say in the text that she can come off as really cold at the same, on top of being, flighty. And it's this idea that she has experienced loss and trauma. And me being a person who is prone to mood swings, that kind of drew me to the idea that here's this deity, this goddess, and who has these character flaws, displaying mood swings, and and it's this ongoing theme with each one of the deities that I really appreciate, is that each one of these deities, they're not omnipotent. They have these character flaws in them. Caden lacks planning and is completely disorganized in all things.
Also a great deity for adventurers, but for different reasons.
Exactly. Serenity is accepting and almost to a fault. She is it almost comes back to bite her in the ass how much she forgives. And it's just, but with Desna, it's this idea that one of her character flaws is these mood swings, and she can just swing from, just do these complete 180s, and we'll go over it throughout some of her lore and some of her stories, where she just go from one mood to the complete opposite, and just completely change her trajectory. And I don't know, I really dig that about her, and it's something that I can relate to.
Yeah, her free spirit and, sense of exploration and things like that, and curiosity too, her own curiosity and free nature has bitten her in the ass in regards to
multiple times.
Yeah, multiple times when it comes to just encountering. Desna's the deity who pushes the red button that says do not push the red button, right? She's like, but I wonder what happens if you push the red button. That's absolutely her as well,
Yeah. I mean, she's the goddess of luck. There's always going to be a chance.
There's a chance.
There's a 20 on every die, Tyler.
Yeah, exactly. She's not cold about, I suppose, that luck either. She always sides with hope. When it comes down to it. So she leans very much on the chaotic side of the spectrum, but always on the side of hope and good people coming out of it okay. Whatever it is.
Yeah. Speaking of times that her nature got her into trouble, she might have freed a god of infection and parasites because she stumbled upon his cocoon on the ethereal plane, and
ooh, what's this?
And
yeah, tell me more about this.
And so, in doing so, as she was exploring the ethereal plane, she stumbled upon the cocoon of Galandar, the Mosquito King, who's just a giant, monstrous mosquito, but he's also a god of disease and decay and terribleness and
infections.
Yeah, and Desna freed him and has regretted it for the rest of her life. And
for whatever reason, Galandar hates her for it, or just loves fucking with her, I guess.
And I'm not bitter that my dragon boy died to his worshippers at all.
No, not at all. Why would you be?
No, that's totally okay.
Applesauce!
Yeah, all right. She's definitely done some good things, though. I mean, one of the major parts of her history is, chaining the
rough beast,
the great beasts.
Yeah.
The rough beast, Rovagug.
Yeah, she helped all of the other gods do that.
Well, there was certain gods that were there.
Yeah,
I know it was Callistria, Serenity, Asmodeus,
Serenity,
Shaylin and
Dalbro.
Not Zani.
Dalbro.
Yeah, well, he wasn't Zankuthan yet.
Right.
Dalbro. Yeah.
Dalbro.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because that's where Star Towers came from.
Yeah, Torag and Gorum built his prison.
Mm-hmm.
Asmodeus held the key. He was the one who locked him up.
Yep.
And
still holds the key.
Maybe.
Abadar, maybe. We don't know if it's the copy or not.
Grandmother Spider stole them. We don't know
And
if the ones that she made a copy of are the ones that she gave to him to give them back, or if she kept the real ones.
Yeah. So we don't know. We don't know which ones he has. Are they real or are they the fake ones? And we'll talk about that in the Asmodeus episode. Abadar, he's the one who built the lock, right?
I believe so. Yep.
Yeah, he built the lock that is holding that is locking up and gave the key to Asmodeus. And Calistria is the one who enticed him.
She was the bait.
She was the bait. Yeah,
she was the bait. And if I recall correctly, when it comes down to like what Desna's part in all of that, Desna and Serenity and Shaylin just kind of like harried Rovagug in luring.
The good lesbians.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were the sheepdogs, and they just kind of like
herded him in. But to kind of give you an idea, I mean, Rovagug is like the devourer of all things, and the three could, well, not die. It is impressive on its own. Desna is one of the originals. She is insanely powerful.
Yep.
She has confidence in that power too.
And Pharasma just sat back and watched.
Well, yeah, she's got souls to judge.
And
so many souls to judge.
She freed a god. She helped seal a god away. She's also created a few.
Yep.
She shacked up with Caden like a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's just kind of how Caden does things, I'd imagine.
Yeah. And they had a son named Kurgus.
And it likely wasn't planned because it's Caden.
And let's be honest, and Desna. Let's be honest.
And Kurgus is basically the god of the Olympics.
Yeah.
Gotta be in a good sport.
Think of the most athletic and like the guy who's best at all sports.
But he's infuriatingly humble and encouraging about your own development at the same time.
Yes. Yep. He's like Michael Phelps who could run like Usain Bolt, but is like the nicest dude in the world.
And she also created the Black Butterfly, or potentially the Black Butterfly was created because she didn't want her worshippers worshipping that aspect of the night sky. So the Black Butterfly just came into existence to take the space between stars away from her. And the Black Butterfly is considered like a shadow of Desna, but is still a good deity, still represents a lot of the things that Desna represents. But she is for the space between rather than the stars in the sky. And it's a wonderful little piece of lore that Desna's followers were worshipping all of the night sky and were worshipping the space between the stars, and Desna just decided, we're gonna make a new person for you to worship for that aspect, because I don't like that aspect. So here, have this one.
It was certainly an aspect of Desna that she, I don't know if like full on rejected as much as was wary of, because there are things that dwell in the space between, and to accidentally worship something like that, there's no lore or anything written that says that that's why she denied it, but I could absolutely see that being a thing, right? Like the wayposts, the stars, those are the important parts.
Well, let's put a pin in that question, because we'll bring that back up in spoiler corner.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sure there's a few APs that go into that.
No,
Adventure.
There's a module called Malevolence.
Oh, I haven't played Malevolence, so that would be information I don't have.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll put a pin in that, and we'll talk about that in spoiler corner.
I have more to talk about in spoiler corner this time than I had last time, because I've read more things.
Yeah.
Nice.
And you finished running Malevolence.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Actually, we didn't do spoiler corner last time for Desna, did we?
I think we did because we talked about some Starfinder stuff with Heath.
Okay. That's right.
Yeah, because there was something in Starfinder that. Well, anyway, I'll bring.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it then. One of the things that I really like is it says here in the text that Desna encourages her worshippers to believe in themselves and express their inner strengths, often in the form of music, dance, or theater. Many songs penned by her faithful become popular tunes for dancing and gathering, and numerous old favorites are attributed to well-dead Desna bards whose musical legacies have persisted for centuries. So this is where, and we'll bring it up when we talk about the pantheons, but I think this is where we have some crossover with, we talked about some of the relationships that Desna's had. Well, one of the relationships that she has is with Shaylin, who is the goddess of beauty and art. And I think this is where some of that crossover comes in, where self-expression is one of the fundamental things in the Desna religion, and she encourages her followers to really examine self-expression and how do you express yourself. And there they go through music as one of the prime examples, because bards are probably one of the classes that is most likely to worship this goddess. And this is an ongoing theme I want to go over too, where there's a talk about this crossover where she chooses to pursue relationships with people with common interests.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think that's a great segue into Pantheon talk, actually, Jason.
Okay. I think so too, yeah.
Because as you mentioned, she's in a relationship with Shaylin. She's also in a pantheon with Shaylin and with Serenity, who the three of them are a polyamorous triptych and are just lovers and have been for millennia, because they are all really old goddesses. And there's little bits of crossover with Desna and both of her lovers in there. Mm-hmm. You mentioned the songs and art being a crossover with Shaylin. Well, stars and suns are the same thing. Suns are just the closest star to you. And we discussed it a little in our Serenity episode, but for people that pick and choose what episodes they listen to and maybe didn't listen to that one, when Serenity came into existence, she immediately fell in love with the stars that Desna had placed in the night sky and decided to claim one, and that's how Golarion got its sun. And so, that's where that crossover sits, and it's beautiful, and that pantheon is known as the Prismatic Ray. Oddly enough, that pantheon does not grant Prismatic Spray as a spell. You would think that it should.
It should.
It's
your table. Put it in there.
But other pantheons that she's a part of the Elven pantheon. Elves love Desna, mostly because of, travel and night sky and all of that jazz.
Yeah, one of the ones I want to go over is specifically completely focused on travel.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one called The Deliberate Journey.
Yep.
And this was a new one for me, because this one popped up in the travel guide, and I think it's brilliant. Here, and I'll read some of the description on it real fast. One of the most widely worshipped of all deities across the Inner Sea, Desna, is particularly known for her care of travelers, especially the dreamy wanderer. But her aid is also invoked by those who travel is of a much more intentional nature, such as those who organize caravans across lengthy routes through the Saga lands or along the Golden Road. The pantheon of the deliberate journey includes Desna for her wisdom and support through the many winding roads of their journey. But this one also includes Abadar, because his interest in travelers, mostly around carrying the concept of civilization and wealth from place to place, and also mapping the routes and mapping and creating trade routes along the way. And I don't know how to pronounce this. Ing, yeah, who is one of the eldest, also known as the Hooded, is the patron of those who travel long distances with purpose, and as such, travelers who appeal to him for safety from banditry, treacherous weather, and getting lost. And worshippers turn to Barzak, known as the Passage, for aid when at a crossroads, for they are the psychopomp who maintains the dead roads, the secret back routes between planes and the mortal world. So it's an entire pantheon built around travel. And when I read this, it really made me want to make a halfling nomad whose entire purpose was just traveling the world. Like, that's his entire thing, is just traveling.
I actually really like this one. This one's fun.
Yeah.
Right?
And some really useful skills in the actual devotee benefits. Longstrider's a phenomenal spell.
Yep.
The Earth domain is pretty solid. Luck is a solid domain. And who doesn't love a good Resplendent mansion?
Knock as a second level spell is great.
Yeah, this is a good list.
Yeah.
I like this one.
And then she has two pantheons devoted to her role as a goddess of stars. The first is the Cosmic Caravan. We talked about that a little bit last episode with Serenity as well, because she's also a member of that pantheon. And basically, what the Cosmic Caravan is in Pathfinder is the Cosmic Caravan is Pathfinder's version of the Zodiac. It's a different constellation for each month, just like our Zodiac is. And then, in addition to that, there is a pantheon of the deities of the night sky that is also tied to the name Cosmic Caravan. And that pantheon is Ashava, the Black Butterfly, Desna, Kedifis, Polara, Serenray, Sukio, and Yog-Sothoth.
And there used to be Grotus.
Yep. But Grotus used to be a part of it, but he got kicked out because he's Grotus.
Because he's Grotus. Because he's Grotus.
Specifically because spreading hope is anathema to Grotus, and the rest of the Pantheon's kind of all about hope, except for Yog-Sothoth, who's really about nothing.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other one is the Path of the Heavens, which again she shares with Serenray and with Sukio, who's the Tien god of the moon, and then
he's the Tien Grotus, who's not a curmudgeon.
And then Nocticula, who is the most recent member of this pantheon, for her part in using the cover of darkness to shelter travelers and outcasts. So,
Path of the Heavens was actually a blog post
Mm-hmm.
that got put up. I think there was a contest for fan submitted pantheons, and this was one of the winners for that back in 2020.
Yep.
A really cool
Very
idea.
cool.
I like this one.
I do too.
Anything with Nocticula in it, I am a fan of. I enjoyed Nocticula very much.
Hey, so do I.
Yeah. The Redeemer Queen.
So do some of your cast members.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, David loves Nocticula as well. They like bringing it up because every time it gets brought up, somebody says Nocticula. Somebody, usually Spencer, replies with Nocticula, which is how we pronounced it. We thought it was pronounced when we first came across it, which immediately like went into Spencer doing Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonations. Nocticula. I don't know why. I have no idea. But anyways, so Nocticula is so much better anyways.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
That's silly. Very silly.
That's so good.
Gosh.
Nice.
I wonder out of curiosity, do we know how many different pantheons Desna is a part of compared to like other deities? I feel as though she's part of more pantheons than some others.
Well, she's part of 5, yeah.
I didn't think of like
Actually,
creating a graph before
I think-
started.
Does... I wonder if Archives has anything that would help here.
She's part of 5. Abadar's part of 5.
I suppose Abadar would be a big one.
Asmodeus is only part of 1.
Ooh,
Asmodeus is a
Demon
harder
Bringers,
sell.
Pantheon.
What'd you say?
Demon Bringers, which is the opposite of what I expected when I saw that name.
Oh, Gorham's part of none. Interesting. Good old Lord in Iron. He needs to get an errata to give him the metal domain now that they've added the metal domain in Rage of Elements.
Will. Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Iomede's only part of 1. Interesting. Godclaw.
Oh, the Godclaw's been a pantheon for a long time.
That's the only
Godclaw
one
is-
she's part of.
That's
So
one
unless
of the
somebody
ones
can,
that
like-
survived the transition from 1E to 2E. But back to Desna's relationships, because that's where most of her pantheons come from. She is strongly opposed to Lamashtu. Strongly, and for good reason. Tyler, you want to tell us why? I saw that look in your eye.
Well, I mean, so the whole Lamashtu thing, like very, very early on in Desna's earliest days, she had a mentor, and her mentor's name was Kirchanus. And Kirchanus was the god of beasts, travel, and endurance. And Desna spent a lot of her time in her early days listening to Kirchanus tell her stories about his travel and all of his adventures. However, Kirchanus' greatest enemy was Lamashtu, who wanted Kirchanus' beast domain. Like, Lamashtu wanted control of the beast domain. So Lamashtu set a trap for Kirchanus, leading him on this strange wandering path in her realm that was just where she basically ambushed him with a bunch of horrible monsters. So Kirchanus was killed by Lamashtu, and she's never forgiven. Desna has never forgiven Lamashtu for that. And especially because, like, from a very metaphysical standpoint, ever since that moment, animal kind has been adversarial to civilization or humanoids who are traveling on paths through the wilderness because of that loss. So she's really, she hates Lamashtu for that.
Yeah, I remember that when we talked about Lamashtu. It's...
Well, one of the things that it's obviously not the only reason that she travels, but one of the things that she always is doing in her travels is searching for a way to wrest that power, the power of beasts, from Lamashtu. And I don't know if there's like a way for her to restore that to somebody else, or how that might come into play later on in the story of Golarion. But yeah, she doesn't like Lamashtu at all. Very open in almost all of her relationships. That one just, not that one.
And there's also one other god that she's really not fond of.
Oh, Glonder.
Well, beyond Golarion, we already talked about.
Oh,
him.
Beyond Glonder.
Zani
That's
K.
true, we did.
She's not a fan of Zani K and his followers' corruption of the night sky, essentially. And
yeah.
which is why, as I alluded to earlier, her two huge centers of worship are Varisia, where the Varisian people are nomadic and travelers by their very nature, so you expect Varisia to be a center of worship for Desna. But she also has a very large following illegally in Nidal.
Mm-hmm.
The worship of Desna is banned in Nidal because they worship the darkness of the night sky and the shadows that come with it, and hope is something that they don't want people having. So if you worship Desna openly in Nidal, you're going to get killed. But a lot of people worship her in their closed doors and as a way of shepherding people through Nidal. There's a character at the very beginning of the Night Glass novel whose mother is a secret worshipper of Desna, and like the opening chapters are a story about her helping a traveler who accidentally found his way into Nidal get out of Nidal. And it's just, I love the idea of an underground religion devoted to bringing hope to a place that has none. I just, that's a very me thing, and
it's a great story.
Yeah,
for sure.
I do want to also mention the fact that just wanted to add on to the Lamashtu bit. Another one of the big reasons why she has such a detestation of Lamashtu is dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Desna, one of the ways that she communicates with her faithful is intervening in dreams, sending just like simple messages like visions or impressions or feelings or just little simple things like that. And as we talked about in our Lamashtu episode, Lamashtu's the mother of nightmares on top of being the mother of beasts. So this battle for the dream state of the mortals is this other point of contention between the two goddesses. And so that's another reason, that's another inflection point between the two of them, is this constant battle of dreams and control of dreams.
There's a lot of contestation to have there between the two, that's for sure. Considering those two things together.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, are there any adventures or modules that explore that?
That's a good.
There are none that I can think of. I know that there's, Raven more explores Desna's relationship with Glonder. Nothing really explains Kyrgyz, but that's okay, because I think Desna doesn't really... She just kind of, like, took off after that whole thing, right? And just dipped out.
Went back to her girlfriends.
Yeah, basically.
I would absolutely love, like, a Rudy module with Kyrgyz. Just like the party is just like this has to like coach this ragtag group of like, athletes. The Bad News Bears type.
That's hilarious.
That would be so fun.
That would be fun. That would be really fun.
That seems more like a scenario than an actual module.
Yeah, no, that's true. Still.
Yeah.
In a roundabout way, Rise of the Rune Lords kind of touches on Lamashtu versus Desna.
I suppose in a super roundabout way. I don't really... Yeah, kind of, but that's a background story in that AP.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it's not the focus of the adventure at all, but...
Yeah, not even close. The GM almost has to make the decision to point it out. Yeah, to tell you about what's going on there. Yeah.
And real quick, also, before we get too much into it, we didn't go over this, but I wanted to make sure that we did touch on this. Desna, to her followers, and one of the aspects that how she appears is, think of like this elven woman, most of the time appearing naked, with these bright blue butterfly wings.
Or purple.
Like kind of like indigo blue, purple. The
night sky
that color. Yeah. Though that range, that color spectrum. And that's pretty much how she appears.
I like that, and I feel like the butterfly bit comes from the indistinct nature of the wings and how they can kind of look like a comet's tail, as opposed to like necessarily butterfly wings. Like I've seen a couple of references to that, like having it look like a comet's tail, but in the form of wings. As far as how they're ephemeral, I can't remember where I read that though. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna have to look it up. But that being said,
her holy text is known as the 8 Scrolls.
And
there's not really a whole lot to go over on it. It's there's not a
as
whole
much
lot
as like her temples and shrines and places of worship. Like there's not much to talk about there either.
It's standing stones in the middle of the wilderness near a path, and like there are a few temples here and there. There's a temple in Ustalov is it the Shudderwood?
That's where the astronomers are, right?
It's in the forest that is overrun with werewolves.
Okay. I know that a lot of the like temples, the standing structures for Desna are also, they double as like a I don't know why I can't think of it. Astronomy.
There's one on the Storval Plateau in Varissia. Which this one is very good for astronomers. It's one of my favorite temple descriptions that I've ever come across in an AP. It's when you enter it, there is a giant star knife on the floor.
Ooh.
And the star knife on the floor is a calendar. And you move the star knife to the date that you visit, so that the next time somebody comes to the temple, they can see how long it's been since the last time someone was here. Which is fun.
Desna worshippers like to leave little hints of their passing to other devotees of Desna
Yeah.
And then on the second floor of that temple is a room that is a domed room that always has the night sky presented on it. And it will always be the accurate night sky for the time of year you're at.
Mm.
And if I remember right, there is a globe in the room that you can use to change the night sky to a specific night sky
based on relative position. Which is just fun. Yeah. I think it kind of is telling about how, like, even in, devotees who are strictly wanderers for the most part, have no real hierarchy other than, who has the best stories from their experiences, or the most stories, both. But anyways, that the only real structures for that are for people using it for astrology in the study of the night sky.
And in the Pact Worlds, in Starfinder, her centers of worship are, as you can guess, Absalom Station, which most of the deities have a center of worship on Absalom Station. Castrovel is the home of the elves.
That makes sense.
As you can imagine, she's worshipped by elves. Triaxis and Idari. And if you're not familiar with what Idari is a massive Kasathan generation starship that just orbits the Pact World sun in between Verces and the Diaspora. And it's huge. It's huge. We're talking like the drum around the starship is 2.5 miles long and has a radius of 1/4 mile.
Wow.
This is a massive generational starship.
That's pretty cool.
But in it, there's a bunch of different sectors, and one of the sectors is Brisbex, which is the spiritual sector, and has all the is the home for all the temples and churches. And there's a temple to Desna in there as well. And everything's pretty much the same when it comes to Desna. It's still a star knife. It's her favorite weapon. Still a butterfly with suns and stars and moons. Still the goddess of dreams, luck, stars, and travelers. Yeah, it's pretty much all the same.
Well, I mean, when you're looking at deities to bring from Golarion pre-gap, Desna's an easy. Yep, we're taking that one.
Exactly.
Putting it over here. She fits in so well.
Yep. So, not a whole lot to go over with Desna. They haven't done a whole write-up on her like they did with Serenity. So I wasn't able to pull that information. So,
actually, I think they did.
Did they?
Hold,
I couldn't find it. I
think Keith mentioned it, and then I bought the issue of Starfinder that it was in. So let me real quick pull that up and see if I can get any more information. So, now that we've had a little bit of time to gather ourselves, but no time has passed for you all, I was able to find the Desna article for Starfinder, which is...
Yeah, it's new.
Which is in
just came out.
Drift Crashers Volume 2, Nightmare Scenario. And just like the Inner Sea Gods article on Desna starts with the wonderful quote that Tyler gave us at the beginning, I want to read you the quote that the Starfinder article starts with. "It's midnight and I feel you there. Your dancing takes my breath away. Stars are shining in your hair. I know that I can't make you stay, but I wish I may and I wish I might share this midnight dance with you, and if tomorrow takes flight, you'll always be my love so true." From Manela Mara, from her debut album, Polestar.
That is really cool.
Because one thing that I found out in looking at this Starfinder article for Desna is that in Starfinder, one of the key ways of worshipping Desna is through pop music. Like,
Pop music specifically? Where did pop come into play?
you know, I don't know where pop comes into play, but like, one of the
But why not?
one of the archetypes is the Star Singer archetype. And I guess it doesn't specifically say pop, so I guess you could be a Desnan musician of any flavor, as long as, according to the Star Singer archetype, you are skilled with both weapon and song. And, like, there's wonderful art of one of the Star Singers of Desna, which I think this is where my mind went immediately to pop, because this
100%.
woman looks like an anime girl with holographic butterfly wings, decked out in a pink and white tutu, holding a bright pink microphone. And that is the art for the Star Singer archetype. But my favorite part of the Star Singer archetype is one of the alternate class features is a supernatural ability called Power Ballad.
Amazing.
When you activate your Gift of Song ability, in addition to imbuing bonuses to your allies, you may choose to genetically transform yourself into a shape that represents your true self. The transformation is a full action, but you can spend one resolve to transform as a move. Well transformed, your land movement speed increases by 10 feet. You gain either cold, fire, electricity, or sonic damage to your attacks. And then you choose a critical hit effect for your attacks as well. Like,
That's amazing.
turn into a shape.
That's really fun. That's really fun.
That's amazing. I would just sing Godzilla by Blue Oyster Cult. Go Godzilla.
Go Godzilla. You know, it's the reason Desna is such a big play-in on songs is that after the gods finished creating the world, the material plane, and after Desna had placed every star in the night sky, she rang the stars in a song to celebrate the completion of creation. It was the very first song believed to have ever been played.
I found the paragraph that references pop music.
You did? Okay.
Well, Desna's faithful aren't... Or, wait, no, wrong one. Performers, especially singers, also worship the Song of Spheres. Musicians commonly praise Desna on stage after a particularly vivacious performance, and references to Desna and her faith are everywhere in pop music. Absalom Station's favorite infosphere music site, Stellar Tempo, is run by a Desna chapel of the same name, and is notorious for repurposing top-of-the-chart songs as hymns or remixing traditional Desna songs into club hits.
Oh, that's awesome.
Amazing. You know, I suppose the inference there is that, like, you know, Desna music has been said throughout, you know, Golarion's history to have been some of the most popular of songs. So I guess it does stand to reason that Desna music might lean toward the pop side of things.
Bouncy and dancy. Like, of course.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Are either of you familiar with the German industrial band Inomine?
No.
Okay. I'll have to send you a couple of their songs. In the late 90s, and maybe mid 90s, in the 90s, the band Inomine showed up on the scene. They are a German industrial band whose entire shtick is singing Catholic prayers in German with industrial music in the background. And as you can imagine, what that sounds like in German, yeah.
Oh, but I bet you that is some
Dude,
super intense shit.
Dude, their song Vater Unser, which is Our Father.
Okay.
I'll send it to you after we get done recording.
Please do. I love niche music like that, man. I do.
But yeah, Starfinder Desna is great. All right,
yeah.
Starfinder 2e can't get here fast enough for me to play a Star Singer.
Yeah, I was blown away with the back matter for Starfinder Serenity. And, like, absolutely blown away. I can just imagine what the back matter for that Desna article was like.
She also has a following on Apostate. Kind of like she did in Nidal.
Okay, makes sense.
Underground,
kind of like how
secret,
kind of like how Serenity has a following on Eox.
Yeah, these rebellious. Don't know what to call them in Starfinder because I'm pretty sure they can't use the name Drow going forward, but the rebellious Drow on Apostate call themselves Star Children and dream of ousting the demonic pantheon of their planet. Like, alright, I'm ready to play a Starfinder Desna. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I will play your Starfinder Serenite buddy.
I you know what? I'm not even gonna. I can't. I sit here and talk about Starfinder 2e for the rest of the night. So I'm just
let's stop while we're ahead.
That's bait.
It's bait.
Yeah. So the 8 scrolls. Let's go back to the 8 scrolls,
which is still her holy text in Starfinder, by the way. Only it's kept
really?
in digital text files instead of a scroll.
Yeah.
So these are 8 short scrolls that contain basically all the official doctrine of the church. They're basically summaries of Desna's early days as a goddess, her interactions with the other deities, how she discovered her powers, how she fixed the stars in the night sky. In particular, the 5th scroll contains the church's words regarding the behavior of mortals, which, as you can imagine, sparks some, let's say friendly debate among the faithful. So, yeah, it's got Desna herself, as we've talked about, is a goddess of contradictions. You know, has a very mercurial nature. Again, I'm going to go back to that theme of her being mercurial. She's a goddess of contradictions. So you can imagine what her holy text is like. Fortunately, she doesn't have a very organized religion, so there's not a real structure to her church. As we mentioned, there's just basically
who tells the best stories.
Yeah, there's stone slabs, and who tells the best stories, and that's about it. And then we also mentioned that she has these stone shrines, along the roads, and what you'll find is a lot of these are covered with graffiti. And
essentially, yeah,
some of those writings that the followers have graffitied, and I'm just immediately in my head, I go to Jim Morrison's tomb. That's the image I have in my head, is Jim Morrison's grave in Paris.
all the graffiti all over it.
Yeah, exactly, with all the graffiti on it. And some of those sayings and phrases have been collected by a Desna priest and collected into some writings. Now, is there any other anything else for her in Starfinder? Because I know in when we talked about Serenity, there was like that big supercomputer that was collecting all the stuff that the priests write and whatnot.
So there's a bit more. Desna is, again, as we've referenced multiple times tonight, in Starfinder, she's still very flaky. And still very unorganized in her church and everything. Like, her followers are everywhere, but they're not really centralized. And so, like, there's a handful of paragraphs about her following on the various Pact worlds. Formians worship her as the wings of departure and exile, embodying the anathemic concept of leaving the natal hive.
Interesting.
I really like that. That's really cool.
The Idari is
you're gonna
home to
leave.
many places
You're gonna
of
leave.
worship
Fine.
for Desna, as well as the Temple of the Black Butterfly, who remains Desna's other half. Only by the time of Starfinder, the Black Butterfly is not really a shadow of Desna anymore, but a sister goddess to Desna. So she's gained power over the millennia leading up to the Starfinder universe. So that's nice to see.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, when you're traveling among the stars, the space between stars gets bigger. So it makes sense.
Androids commonly worship her because they find that she offers an opportunity to break away from the mold of their design and to embrace the art of whimsy. On Akaton, poor youths look to the stars praying for Desna to send them a path to distant worlds. Xenoseekers outside of the Pact worlds present Desna's symbol to the alien life forms that they encounter. Militant Desnans work on Viscarian-controlled planets and in the Aslanti Empire, hoping to break the hold of those powers.
That would explain why she has her own moniker in Aslanti. The Wandering Star. I do like the idea of like, I know you're going through so many fun ideas here. Like the Formians who are like, all right, fine, if you're gonna leave the hive, why don't you go ahead and worship the lady who just does nothing but floats around and travels? All right, bye bye. I love that thought. There's some really fun stuff in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Starfinder Desna is forgiving of piracy, both musical and otherwise.
Amazing. That is amazing.
Eat your heart out, Lars.
Yeah, right. Oh, wow.
Desnans on both sides of the law often seem to find support for their ventures. Travelers' vlogs tend to go viral overnight, funding their future journeys. Wealthy patrons approach struggling artists after seeing their works in a dream. Singers churn out hits after praising Desna on stage. And ethical pirates sporting the sevenfold star evade authorities after lucrative hits.
What's there not to love about all of this? Seriously.
I love it.
That's awesome. It's like a Radiohead and 9 Inch Nails. It's like, hey, pay what you want. Take our album.
Right. I'm surprised we haven't mentioned. I might be going back a little too much here, so stop me.
No, that's fine.
If it's inappropriate, but the invasion of the Abyss.
Yeah, we hadn't gotten to her other
story.
big whoopsies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's hit that. Let's hit that up. Then we still have holidays, aphorisms, and Mike's not here to do the planar allies, so we'll hit those up, and then we could do
And
Story corner.
divine intercessions too.
yes,
Boons
yeah. Oh yeah,
and,
that's the other Mike thing.
Yep.
Boons and curses.
Boons and curses.
Damn it, Mike, you're making me do extra work.
I can handle the boons and curses. Got it right here.
No, I'm just giving him crap because I know he's going to listen. All right. Yeah, so want to take us through that story, Tyler, about the invasion of the Abyss?
Oh gosh, I would almost defer to Cori on that one. As far as the invasion of the Abyss goes, the only thing I know about it is that she just specifically went to go kill one demon lord for possessing one of her favorite priests.
So it's
Yeah,
almost
And created
very
this
similar.
whole, like, war because of it.
So it's very similar to the story with Caden too, because Caden had a fight with a demon lord that he bested. But yeah, it was like one specific demon lord who he bested. Anyway, we talked about that in the Caden episode.
Yeah.
Go listen to the Caden episode if you want to hear about that story.
So,
But didn't she specifically break the divine pact, the truce? Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, yep.
So there is as Tyler just mentioned, a divine truce between the outer planes where, all of the outer planes have their own essentially standing armies, right? Like, heaven has an army, hell has an army. The demons don't really have an army, but they are innumerable in the abyss. But the outer planes have an agreement that they'll let mortals fight on their behalf on the material plane, or I guess the universe as it's now known as of Rage of Elements. They'll let mortals fight their battles for them in their names and wage war on their behalf. But they won't take the war to each other because they realize that doing so could be cataclysmic to everything. Because when deities go to war, everybody suffers. Which I think we might be seeing very soon in Pathfinder. That's what they're kind of hinting at for next year's big adventure path.
Oh, like a war between the gods?
Yeah, they've hinted that next year's big Gen Con release is going to be the closest they have ever interwoven a rulebook, Lost Omens, and Adventure Path at the same time.
Really?
And
And
it's
they hinted. Yeah, they hinted that a god will fall.
they didn't even hint
did
that
hear
a god
about
will
that.
fall.
They just straight up said it, didn't
said that one of the core 20 is going to die.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that all of the books are themed around war. So a
Boy, that would
deific
be
war
interesting.
might be on the horizon, and that might be
That would be really
a big
interesting.
effing deal.
James Jacobs, if you touch Desna,
I don't think
we're gonna.
I don't think
it's his
James
call,
would,
but
but
I don't think he would either.
who knows?
No,
I'm sure
You
it
made
is
the
his call at
argument
the end of
that
the day, but
if they survive to the Pact Worlds, it's probably.
well,
that's a good point.
however, Luis Loza and Michael Sayer have come out and said a deity's existence in Starfinder does not preclude them from being the one that dies because they are alternate timelines.
Oh, interesting.
Pathfinder
Oh.
is a different timeline from actual Starfinder proper. It's the same universe, but it's alternate
Wow.
timelines. So
Okay.
none of the
Oh.
20 is safe just because they are safe in Starfinder.
So we're doing like Marvel Earth 113
Yeah.
versus.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Earth 295 type shit. Okay.
So, anyway, there's this pact. Gods don't go to war because it's bad business for gods to go to war. Occasionally, a deity will whoopsie-doodle and violate this pact. Notably, as we mentioned before, Caden's done it. Desna also did it. Desna did it when the demon lord Aolar, who was the Lady of the Hunt, really doesn't say much about what her domains or anything were, but Aolar took control of the body of a recently deceased Desnan priestess to then go and kill all of that priestess's loved ones. And that's something that Aolar tended to do, was take control of a recently deceased hero, because she really liked making the dead person's soul witness the carnage that was wrought with their body after death. And Desna got real angry, and because there's one thing that Desna really just doesn't take kindly to, and I'll talk more on this in spoiler corner when we get there, but she doesn't like you fucking with her followers. And so she got real mad and not only killed Aolar, but destroyed her entire abyssal realm. Just wiped it off the face of the abyss. And it was only by the grace of the other deities who aided her here, which were her girlfriends, and Callistria, all of whom Aolar had made enemies out of by doing the same thing that she did to Desna's follower. And Callistria was the one that successfully politicked to turn the demons on themselves, because demons are finicky that way. Had it been a devil, I don't think they would have gotten out of it so easily. But demons, being chaotic and messy, are easy to turn on each other, and that's how they got out of starting just an all-out interplanar war between the Abyss and Elysium.
Well, and a good thing too, obviously, because as you mentioned, when the planes go to war, the bad things can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Grotus is sitting in the back with a chair and some popcorn, watching this whole thing go down, right?
Yep.
Now I need fan art of Grotus in a lawn chair with popcorn.
It's that meme of the two girls fighting and the one guy in the background with the bong.
Yeah, it's just
and that's Grotus.
Grotus watching you. That's good. That's good. Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, and it kind of goes to show Desna, not to hit really hard on relationships again, but she creates relationships, and she's very open with who she accepts assistance from and who she chooses to aid and things of that nature, and that kind of helped her in this case. Not that Callistria didn't have her own revenge to take, and that she doesn't, completely.
Not that she's the goddess of revenge or anything,
right? But that's, yeah. I think that goes to show of her own, I don't know if fickle's the right way to put it, but her own tendencies to get very emotional and in those things that she very much dislikes, really displaying her power. I mean, taking out an entire abyssal realm, it probably wasn't that big of a deal to her. from a power standpoint, but she did it, right?
Whoopsie doodle.
Yeah, even though there was the pact, and if she would have taken a moment to think about it, she probably would have, realized it. But I can't decide if she just didn't bother thinking about it. It never crossed her mind because she was so pissed off, or if she just didn't care. I love her either way, but
I tend to lean on I just didn't care.
Yeah, that's probably more along the lines there.
Yeah. I don't care about your stupid pact. If I die, I die.
If he dies, he dies.
I like, she just has a lot of good lore examples that reinforce her ideals.
Yeah.
It's very good at that.
One of the things, listeners, that you'll recognize is that much unlike the rest of the deities we've gone over, Desna is a lot more interactive than any of the other ones. Like, when we talked about Zan-Kuthon, dude didn't give a shit. He was just like, whatever. He just kind of hung out. Didn't care about any of his followers. He's like, you worship me? Whatever. Fuck you. I don't care.
Pharasma? K.
Dude, legit, he doesn't care about his followers. He it says that he doesn't. He just really
doesn't
doesn't.
give a shit. Doesn't surprise me at all.
Pharasma? She's too busy, man. She doesn't do... She's got way too much shit
It's a lot of souls to judge, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, literally every deity we've come across, except for Besmar. Besmar is pretty interactive. But, like, every other deity we've come across is just, like, they don't really do a whole lot. There's not... Desna, though, she's way interactive.
Which is interesting, is because there's no really big like church presence, you're not finding her followers part of large organizations that do, I mean, aside from your underground faith hope movements, right? Like in Nidal, you don't see a lot of that structure, and she just does what feels right, and that just means she involves herself quite often.
Yeah,
she is Vibes, the goddess.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The most you're going to get out of Torag is he's going to look at the thing you just smithed, and then you might see his reflection in the metal. You might. And that's about it. That's about it.
Get a nod and a grunt.
Yep.
Thumbs up.
Yep.
Just...
And that's it. That's about it.
So, we want to talk about aphorisms now?
Yeah, let's talk about aphorisms.
Alright. So, Desna has quite a few aphorisms, probably particularly owing to her nature as a poet, a songstress, a muse for bards. So lots of them come up with quippy sayings.
And how interactive she is.
Yeah. Be ready for challenges and unexpected friends is a turn of phrase that tells worshippers to be on their toes, but to also be welcoming to friendly travelers that they meet. Like, watch out for the scary things like cults of Galundar. Looking at you, Tyler.
Yeah, I know.
But also be on the lookout for friends, because you'll meet friends on the road, you'll meet enemies on the road, but be ready for both. And feet are for walking. It's better to wander and explore than to stay home and grow stale.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Follow a hunch, but bear the consequences. Gosh, wonder how this could apply to Desna. If faced with a sudden problem, worshippers should be guided by intuition and emotion. If reason does not provide an obvious answer, or even if it does sometimes, looking at you does not. If this leads to something harmful, then you're responsible for trying to repair the harm that's done, which ties directly to the Galandar myth. Like, she accidentally unleashed this evil and has spent millennia trying to fix it. Learn from what is different. Desna's followers should accept others who espouse friendship, regardless of race or religion. This goes back to the anathema of not being a bigot.
Yep.
You know, you can learn redemption and acceptance from Serenity, and appreciation of beauty from Shaylin, and bravery from Caden. Gosh, I wonder what the theme is here with these these deities that you can learn from. You can learn passion from Callistria, magic from Nethys, combat from Gorum, nature from Gozra, and more and more and more. Ignoring the teachings of other religions is ignoring the chance to learn. A copper for the song, a copper for the road. Customary is to pay a Desnan bard 2 coppers. The first is out of respect for Desna, and the second is to either acknowledge the performer's skill or a plea for the performer to perform elsewhere. A star cannot see its place in the sky. When worshippers doubt themselves or their path, they are reminded that a single star cannot conceive the role it plays in the harmony of the heavens. Even when alone, they walk alongside Desna. Learn from what is different. Desna's followers should accept others. Actually, we already did that one. Never mind. There are multiple in both God books, so I'm trying to only touch them once, but and then you are never lost if you are following butterflies. Desna's faithful trust their intuition in the signs of their goddess to help guide them along the way. And then I have my own aphorism of Desna that my Desnan cleric says with frequency, and that is, Grotus looms, but only where stars do not shine.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I like that.
And, like, oftentimes she will just say the Grotus looms part. That's just a character tick of that I have brought from my own personality into my character. But the whole phrase is only where stars do not shine, because yeah, you can be lost in despair and crushing isolation, but only if you don't have the light of the goddess to help guide you.
And I can go over the intercession real quick. So the boons and the curses. We'll start with the boons. The minor boon. For those at the end of a journey, Desna gifts a deep sleep. Once, after you rest, you completely recover all hit points, remove all negative conditions, and become free of any curses or diseases. And that's the minor boon.
It's pretty solid.
That's
actually.
huge. Isn't it? That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
The moderate boon. Desna twists your fortune in your favor once per day. After determining the result of a check, you can re-roll the check and take the new result. So that's kind of like halfling luck, right?
Hey GM, I get a second hero point every session, and it's from Desna.
And if you're a halfling, you get 2 extra hero points.
Jeez.
Basically.
A halfling of Desna, and I have 3 hero points every session.
The major boon. Desna bestows you with a swirling cloud of lights that form a pair of wonderful butterfly wings. These wings grant you a fly speed of 40 feet and shine dim light in a range of 20 feet. And flight is a big deal in 2nd edition.
Yes.
It's not easy to get.
No, it's usually a very late acquisition.
Yeah.
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 My cleric is an Aasimar gnome. And the Aasimar heritage that she has gave her butterfly wings. And
Nice. But that's like, what, 15th level?
Yeah, 13th or 15th?
No, she got them at 9th. But she can only use them for...
Oh.
Like...
X amount of time per day.
I think it started at 1 minute and now it's 10. But at 17th it will become... She can use them all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm
permanent. Yeah.
desperately awaiting 17th level when I can just fly.
Mm-hmm.
Fly up 30 feet and ping my friends with heal bombs from 30 feet in the air where nothing can hit me.
I'm sure you'll never fight anything that flies.
Never. Now on to the curses. If you are cursed by Desna, your minor curse is you always seem to lose your way or have a strange mishap on the road that delays your travel. You, and thus any group that you travel with, travel only 3/4 normal exploration speed.
Oof.
Before taking into account the terrain and other features that might slow you down further.
Oof.
Which we're playing Quest for the Frozen Flame, and that's a hex crawl. That would suck.
Yeah, you're right. That would.
The moderate curse. Misfortune follows you in your travels and requires acts of contrition or benevolence to keep you at bay. You must always roll twice and take the worst result when attempting a check. This is a misfortune effect. You can express your remorse and ignore this effect for 1d4 rounds by spending an action, which has the concentrate check. If you perform a truly selfless act of compassion, you ignore this effect for 1 day.
Oh,
wow. Be a good person or you're going to have bad luck.
Yeah,
is what that
this
boils
is
down
the
to.
unluck aura from those lesser deaths.
Oh, God.
All the time.
All the time. Oh, that sounds so bad.
That's awful. Oh my goodness. Alright, and the major curse.
because that's not even the major curse.
Yeah. The stars rebuke you in your ways. You are sickened 4 and slowed 1 whenever you are exposed to starlight. So just take a -4 to everything. Oh, and by the way, you can only take 2 actions.
Yeah, don't piss Desna off.
Didn't Saren Ray have one with the sun? So if you piss both
Yeah.
of them off, you're just SOL?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're pissing one off, there's a good chance.
Yeah.
There's a good chance you're gonna get the other one.
Yeah, Saren Ray's was basically the same, but during the day. You're right. I need to look it up now.
Interesting little crosses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Her minor
so, yeah,
curse was the sun burns you for your transgressions, where you receive a permanent sunburn that causes you clumsy 1 until you appease her.
Yeah, you are permanently clumsy 1 in the sun.
Not even just in the sun, it's a sunburn
No.
that gives you
Yeah.
permanent clumsy
Yeah.
1. So hers is... That's even worse than only affecting you in the sunlight.
Yeah.
I mean, Sick and 4 is
no.
rough.
Yeah, sickened 4 and slowed 1 is much worse, but...
Yeah, from a mechanical standpoint is worse, but if I'm imagining which one is worse, a consistent forever sunburn sounds awful. Like,
And not
you
even
imagine
just a
having-
consistent sunburn, it's a consistent sunburn bad enough to make you clumsy.
Yeah.
Like, that's sun poisoning levels of sunburn, where your joints
Yeah.
hurt.
Yeah.
I've got a few Norwegian friends that I know would just cringe at that information, right? They know what that feels like.
My husband got a sunburn that bad this summer when we were on vacation in San Francisco. So, like,
It's the worst.
I know firsthand what it looks like somebody dealing with that bad of a sunburn.
Yeah, I have a friend who's Irish, and yeah, as soon as he goes out into the sunlight, it's just like
Burn city,
slather on the
baby.
sunscreen or
Burn.
yeah. All right, and we have the planar allies, right?
Mm-hmm. I can take this one.
Yeah.
So,
Unless you know them, Tyler. Do you have that up?
I mean, the only thing I know is the Night Monarch.
Okay.
And the Night Monarch is cool as hell because basically, so the Night Monarch is just a herald of Desna.
mm-hmm.
And it's one. Okay, so it's a giant, gargantuan moth.
Yeah.
And it's enormous, and it's fast, and it's quiet, and if you piss Desna off, or if you attack Desna and followers, there's a chance the Night Monarch just might drop on you from out of the night sky. It's a very brightly colored moth, and I think there was a picture of it.
Yeah, there's one in Inner Sea Gods.
Book.
They have the art of all of the heralds.
Oh, do they really? All of the heralds?
Yeah. And
Wow.
if you're listening and you want to see it, just ping myself or Cori.
Yeah,
just
we
remind
can
us.
we can throw it up in the channel after the episode goes live. It's no biggie. Here, Tyler. Dubious
Yeah,
Knowledge
this is-
channel.
And this is Pathfinder 1E. This is a CR15 creature.
Mm-hmm. My Desna cleric, I keep going back to her because I'm currently playing her, just got the ability to summon the Night Monarch.
Sorry, what?
There
That's
is a
amazing.
Summon Herald spell.
Oh, that's so cool.
It doesn't actually, like, it's not summoning it to be like an actual minion. It's more of like the 2E kaiju effects type thing,
Gotcha.
where
Gotcha.
it's kind of like a hazard for your enemies and a boon for your allies when you summon the Night Monarch or summon whatever herald.
I like the Night Monarch. The idea of the Night Monarch just like flying around Golarion, patrolling the night, is just a really cool idea to me.
Well, and
I have this idea that the Night Monarch, and I don't know if this is true, it just flies in a circle around Golarion so they're perpetually in the night sky and never stop.
yeah, and so another thing about the Night Monarch is there are smaller, less deific versions of the Night Monarch that are wandering around Golarion, known as Star Monarchs. They are...
Is that what's in Pod Against the Machine?
Yes. Yes, they've met a Star Monarch.
Okay,
And I'm pretty sure
nice.
that's what the art you just posted is a Star Monarch. I think it's
The one
the
that I
Star
posted?
Monarch that they meet in Iron Gods.
I think it is. Yeah, it's from
Because I
it's
see a
from the
chainsaw in that
Clock
picture,
Tower
so that
adventure.
makes...
So
like,
that's not the Night Monarch. That's one of the
Star Monarchs, which are still giant moths. Like, this is a
Yeah.
moth that is about double the size of a human. But the Night Monarch is bigger than that.
That's like a 747.
But
747 moth.
in addition to the Night Monarch, she also has a few other planar allies that you can in 1E summon. And you could probably flavor, like, summon Celestial in 2E to summon one of these specifically, if you wanted to. She has Sorrowbrand, who is a unique Azada Liland. This dramatic Liland is a composer and author. Her scales are silvery black. She wears dozens of silk black ribbons in her hair, and while she enjoys helping mortals, she constantly complains that it takes time away from her studying and writing. She prefers payment in the form of bardic scrolls and long-lost songs.
That's kind of cool.
Night Spear, who is a unique Avoral, has jet black feathers with white spots on the tips. His eyes are bright silver that becomes dull and opaque when he's hunting or hiding. He is especially proud of his ability to pull up out of a full plummet with only inches to spare. He has an excellent singing voice and often belts out heroic songs of his own, composing in mid-battle.
Which is amazing because Navorals, they're an Agathian, who are like the divine celestial humanoid animal mixes. Like there's the honey badger Agathian,
the raccoon,
hound archon, the raccoon. This is like the falcon version of it, or the hawk version of that, and it just fits like for me the caricature of a proud hawk, you know.
And
which is just, it's funny.
And then the last planar ally that she has listed is the Prince of the Night Sky, who is a unique genie. This arrogant genie once served Gozra, but joined Desna when he found her attitude more to his liking. He appears as a genie made of dense white smoke or inky black darkness dotted with bright stars, alternating between the two at whim. In either form, he has a long black beard, which he keeps meticulously combed. For payment, he prefers jewelry and items that summon air elementals.
That's kind of cool. I like the idea of a genie with the inky black darkness dotted with bright stars. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Also,
just like a dwarf.
Arrogant genie. I mean, that's like it's the same thing there, guys.
And then beyond the unique planar allies, she also has an Azada that is tied closely to her, and that is the Thirlian Azada, which is a fey-looking humanoid colored in shades of gray, with wings that are decorated with colored magics resembling a starry night sky, and of course the wings are butterfly-shaped.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's very much like a smaller version of Desna herself, only with grayscale skin.
That's kind of cool.
Like,
do I have a picture of that one?
I do. Hold on. Here you go. Like, very much a picture of Desna with gray skin.
Oh yeah. It's a little mini Desna. Kind of looks like the What If episode of Golarion's universe. What if all the deities were zombies? That looks like zombie Desna.
Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah, so those are her planar allies.
Yeah, I think all we have. Anything else?
Just spoiler corner, I think.
Yeah, so if you don't want to get spoiled, next month we are planning on doing Urgathoa with Griff again. Yeah, for Spooky Month. And with Newlywed Griff. So we'll be able to chat about that a little bit too. And yeah, for Spoiler Corner, I know we're going to be talking about Malevolence. Anything else you guys want to touch base on?
Yes.
Feast of Ravenmore, do you want to touch base on that?
We could certainly do Feast a little bit.
Yeah.
I
don't know how you want to handle this, Jason, because parts of my Spoiler Corner are Rise and Shattered Star related.
That's fine. I've played Rise.
All right.
And I can hold back. Yeah, that's fine.
But those are the big ones. I already touched on the Curse of the Crimson Throne Spoiler Corner part with the temple on the Storable Stairs, but It's not really a spoiler for the adventure path, it's just a location in the adventure path.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we'll do spoiler corner now.
So Malevolence.
All right. Yeah, so Malevolence. Malevolence was, yeah, I know that, I think last time we talked, Tyler, you hadn't played yet either, so.
I haven't played Malevolence. I may play it at some point, so I mean, obviously I'm here and I'll just ignore it for my own playthrough when it comes to it, but.
Yeah, so one of the biggest points in the story is that in Malevolence there's a sect of Desna priests that
from way back before Earthfall.
Yeah, like this is like ancient Desna priests that have captured this entity, and they built basically kind of like a prison, and they have this mirror, this called the Void Mirror, that's basically keeping it in check. And they built this little, what would you call
crypt?
it? It's not a shrine. Yeah, a crypt that holds this mirror in place, that's pointed down to hold this entity at bay.
Shakuth.
Yeah, Shakuth. And it's basically a Lovecraftian,
because it's a James Jacobs module, so yeah.
Yeah, Eldritch
like
horrors abound.
Yeah, it's an Eldritch horror from beyond the stars. And these Desna priests, called the Order of the Starless Night.
Ominous.
And they kind of just, like, they're just like this tiny order whose entire purpose was to keep Shakuth at bay.
Mm-hmm.
And they just kind of went, after Earthfall, just kind of went, not really extinct, but just kind of faded away.
Well, as you do after, Earthfall.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just...
As one does when a meteor hits your planet.
They probably did go extinct because they all just died.
Right. But, like, yeah, so the order just completely went away. That is... And things kind of just stayed stagnant. But that is until... Well, I'm not going to get too into the story, since we're just going to focus on Desna. But basically, Desna has she has beef, and we didn't really talk about it in the main episode, but she has beef with the Dark Tapestry. And the Dark Tapestry, if you're not familiar with it, is basically all the stuff from beyond the stars. It's, I guess that's how you could really, if you want to boil it down.
It's kind of all of the horrible eldritch things that exist beyond. It's almost like that the idea of infinity and all of the possible horrible things that could spring from the infinity of that blackness.
So one of the things that is one of the entities that is part of the Dark Tapestry is known as the Ashen Man. Now, the Ashen Man, and this comes back to a theory I'm having about what's going to happen next year, and we could talk about that, and maybe I'll have you guys on for a mutiny at one point, and we could talk about theory crafting and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But because the Ashen Man is kind of key to my theory about what's going to happen in the next big AP next year. The Ashen Man is a herald of the Dark Tapestry, whose entire purpose is to go to these. He's kind of like the Silver Surfer, if I'm want to pull in Marvel lore. the Silver Surfer goes to these planets and is saying, "Hey, I'm the Herald of Galactus. Galactus is coming. He's going to eat your planet." That's pretty much what the Ashen Man is. He's like, "Hey, I'm the Herald of the Dark Tapestry. There's going to be an extinction level event."
Okay, bye.
And that's kind of what he does. Well, that's kind of what happens in Malevolence. Ashen Man shows up, corrupts this guy from Cheliax, this Chelish noble, and shit goes haywire. And, well, the party, Chekuth would have been unleashed upon the Earth had the party not stopped it.
Yeah, for being a level 3 to 6 adventure, it's got some of the biggest stakes in all of the adventures.
Yeah,
But
seriously.
The problem, the thing of my theory is that this is not the first time the Ashen Man has showed up.
Mm-hmm.
The Ashen Man has shown up multiple times. He showed up in Doomsday Dawn. He's shown up in Malevolence. And I have a feeling he's going to show up in the next AP. And I think that's what's gonna. That's my theory.
Interesting.
So beyond Malevolence, if you can edit in that, we're also going to talk about Wrath of the Righteous. Jason.
Yeah. I could do that. Did I miss anything in Malevolence?
You caught
Cori?
the big Desna beats, I think.
Yeah.
The crypt does have a fancy lock on it that is an astronomical lock, where you have to match stars to certain positions to get it to unlock.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
But the star positions are like millennia old.
Oh, so they're not fully accurate anymore?
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So, Wrath of the Righteous has the other Desna doesn't like you fucking with her followers moment. In that, in Wrath of the Righteous, which is the let's fuck up some demons AP, there is a succubus named Arushale. And Arushale, about 100 or so years ago, give or take, seduced a Desnan cleric, as succubi do, and sucked the life out of the Desnan cleric, as succubi do. But as the Desnan cleric was dying, she drifted into sleep and started dreaming one last dream to reach out to her goddess for help. And Arushale used her telepathy to violate the dream, to interpose herself in this dying woman's dream, and to experience a dream for the first time, because demons don't dream. And Desna saw her. And Desna went, "Oh, so you want to feel what it's like to dream? Okay." And Desna gave Arushale a conscience. And over the course of the AP, when you meet Arushale, she is a chaotic neutral succubus, worshipper of Desna. And over the course of the campaign, you can push her back into being chaotic evil if that's what you do. You can help her fall again and make her evil, or you can assist her in seeking redemption, which is one of the themes of the AP. And you can get her to become an ex-succubus, essentially, and turn her chaotic good, where her profane gifts that she has as a succubus get turned into celestial type gifts, where she is now a good character and grants benefits from her touch and things like that. And it's great. She's one of my favorite NPCs in the history of Pathfinder. She's also a James Jacobs creation, no surprise, because Desna is his baby.
Mm-hmm.
And she comes with some just awesome Desnan gear. Like, she's got swallowtail bracers. She's got a Desnan bow and a Desnan staff. Just all sorts of Desnan goodies that are on her character sheet when you meet her, and you can take them or you can leave them on her and use her as a companion, which is what I would prefer to do, but that's just me.
I would imagine.
But yeah, that's Desna's role in Wrath of the Righteous, is another one of those demon fucked with my people, I'm going to punish the demon even though we have a truce.
Yeah.
A little bit less than the last time, but like, it's a theme that she's got here.
Yeah. When she feels like, and it's not even necessarily when she feels like she's not going to get caught. It's just whenever she feels like it.
Yep. And then, slight spoiler for Rise of the Rune Lords. Like, it opens with the Swallowtail Festival, which is a Desnan holiday. The priest of the town of Sandpoint is Father Xantus, and he is a priest of Desna. They recently rebuilt a church. The church is dedicated to 6 different deities, Desna being one of them. The previous head priest was also a priest of Desna and died in a tragic fire at the church. That's all I will say about that.
Yeah.
Because Jason's going to be playing in my Rise game, so I can't really dig deep into the spoiler there.
Yeah.
And
Gosh,
then
it's funny,
in Shattered
even
Star,
that one.
Shattered Star, which Jason will also be playing in, I'm not going to spoil too much there either, but one of the locations you go to in that AP is the Windsong Abbey, which is a holy site in Varissia that was dedicated to 20 of the 21 core deities. And by 21, I am including Eridan in this, because it was that old of a temple. The one deity that had no followers at Windsong Abbey was Rovagug. He did not allow his cult did not take the invitation to join the abbots and abbesses at the Windsong Abbey. But the other deities all had representatives there, including Desna.
The 3 Ascended wouldn't have, would they?
Yes, because none of them are less than 100 years old.
Okay. Okay, so
very specifically, Iamede's priest plays a big role in the AP. So
okay, yeah. I just assumed that with Eridan it was pre-Ascension.
No.
Okay.
Windsong Abbey fell apart, as many things did, when Eridan died.
Also, how do you send an invitation to the cult of Rovagug? I don't think they have an address that you can send things to. I know that's usually a problem with Norgorber, but they somehow knew about it before you invited them.
Yeah.
Not sure how you even tell the cult of Rovagug that you're having a party.
But there is a...
No, they had an address, they just destroyed it. They destroyed the house.
After Windsong Abbey fell, right after Eridan's death, a handful of the priests stayed.
Okay.
not all 20 of the remaining did, but the Desnan priest did, Erastil, Zani K, oddly enough, was one of the ones that stayed. And there were a handful of them that stayed well, everyone else went their own ways after a tragic event at the Abbey.
Did the Chellin priest stay?
I don't think the Chellin one is mentioned.
Well, then that means they left, and the Zani K priest just stayed to spite him. Most likely. That's all the reason they need.
I'll hit you with more information about this, because there's big spoilers in it that I don't want Jason to know about.
For lots of things, yeah.
But, that's why that book is so far my favorite book of the Shattered Star AP, is because of all of the nitty-gritty religious stuff in it. So,
okay.
But
I like nitty-gritty religious stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure
also
you're gonna love that book.
Yeah.
Also the nitty-gritty dirt band, Fishing in the Dark. It's a good song.
Trying to think of any others that she has a huge play in.
We were going to have you do Ravenmore.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Yep.
Ravenmore actually is interesting because it focuses more on Glonder than it does on Desna. But
They pretend.
Yeah, so it emulates the struggle that Desna and Glonder have, because one of Glonder's favorite things to do to Desnan followers or Desnan structures where they exist is to, impersonate them. A lot of Glonder cults specifically impersonate Desnan cult, worshippers, because that the infection, the misinterpretation, the delivery of Glonder's ideals through the veil of it being Desna really makes Glonder especially happy. And a lot of the spawns, the blight spawns that can occur in those sorts of cult rituals that are, providing sacrifices from people who think that they're Desna worshippers, produces some really virulent results. Ravenmore is about a group of adventurers that goes into a small town in the swamplands of Varisia to basically claim unpaid taxes, and they uncover slowly throughout the course of the module this cult of Glonder, all the players in it, and all of the little details of kind of that, like I mentioned, emulating that strife between those two deities, but on Golarion itself. Of course, eventually the adventurers do come out of it. Well, sorry, most of the adventurers come out of it okay.
Shots fired!
And the Desnan priests come in, and it's mentioned in the epilogue of the adventure, but I know that when we all keep referencing this run of Ravenmore that I did for Strange Table Fellows and Friends on their Twitch that Jason was part of. Was that your first character death ever?
Second. Ellie got him
Second.
first.
Oh, yeah. Darn it.
Yeah.
Barely missed him, right?
Yeah.
But it is called out that the Desnan priests do go to Ravenmore and attempt to mend the damage that the Glonder cult did to that small community. And it affected them greatly. And had been around for a few generations. That's the other thing, this isn't
infestation,
a Glonder, thing. But yeah, it's the infestation, the parasitic nature of Glonder, which is why they love doing that. The cult and Glonder's cult love doing that to Desnan worshippers. And there's a lot of that detail in Feast of Ravenmore. Very fun AP, or very fun module.
Yeah, it really gave me, when I was playing it, it gave me Wicker Man vibes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
like
absolutely.
the original 1973 Wicker Man.
Wicker Man and what's the Florence Pugh?
Midsummer.
Gave me a lot of
well, it was
Midsummer
the-
vibes.
It was the pretty vapid blonde who had the crown of the floral
Crown of flowers.
yeah, the flowers, giving the really culty speech.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good one.
And on the Starfinder side of things, for Spoiler Corner,
Yeah. We had talked about this originally.
she
With Heath.
there's a reason she has an article in Drift Crashers, and that's because at the beginning of that volume of the Adventure Path, the party has a date with Desna,
What?
where you meet her for drinks.
Hey Cori. You wanna run me through Drift Crashers? Let's get a party together.
Well, let's see when Starfinder 2 comes out, Tyler, because...
Yeah, you're right. You gotta hold my attention for longer than a few sessions.
Well, and also, like, I'm not familiar with the Starfinder rule set, so I need to wait for Starfinder 2, where it's a rules chassis that I am very familiar with and can play with.
Yeah. No offense to our Starfinder friends at all, but I have a hard time with that system.
So there's that,
Yeah.
and then not really spoilery for the adventure, but like spoilery for our version of Strength of Thousands is that my Desna cleric just got married in that game, or heart bond ritualed, to my friend Ellie's orc fighter, and the ceremony was very Desnan in that Pi, my Desnan cleric, arranged for all of her friends and family to be teleported to Sandpoint, because that is Pi's hometown, and we had the ceremony done by Father Xantus during the Desnan winter holiday for the winter solstice, and and the GM blessed us with a flyover by the Night Monarch for our wedding.
Oh, that's really cool. So it was done during the ritual of Stardust, then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Very cool.
Did Bobby De Niro show up?
He did not. I get that reference, Jason, but no, he did not. We did have
Did you not get the reference, Tyler?
Right over
Neil
my head,
Gaiman
like the Night
Stardust.
Monarch.
Yeah.
Oh.
Robert De Niro played the pirate.
No,
We
I
did
never
have
watched
celebrities that showed up.
Celebrities in the wedding, like Desmond celebrities, or just
Like Golarion celebrities.
oh,
We had Ardak the Whitehair, the current war chief of Belkzen,
Ooh.
show up. We also had Runelord Sorshin send her regards.
Okay.
interesting.
and
Very.
and the Jade Empress, Amiko Kaijitsu, sent her regards.
Oh. She went back home.
Oh, you didn't know that?
Just for
No,
the night.
I knew that.
Oh.
Yeah. I played Jade Regent for one book.
I suppose that
I
would
knew
be
that.
that would be the spoiler. Yeah, is that Amiko goes to
Tianxia.
Tianjin.
No, yeah, I'm saying she came back home to Sandpoint.
No, she didn't. She didn't actually show up. The only one that was actually present there of those celebrities
Okay.
was Ardak the Whitehair.
Okay.
Sorshin sent a wedding gift, which was monogrammed robes. And Amiko sent her regards and an invitation to visit the Jade Palace.
Oh, that'd be cool.
The keys to the glassworks.
Did not get those, no.
They're under new management anyways.
Yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah, I can't think of any other AP play-ins that she has that really come to mind.
Yeah. Which is a lot more than some of the...
Yeah, this was a
some of the
longer
deities.
spoiler
Again-
corner than most.
Again, she's much more interactive than a lot of the deities we've talked about. Clearly. And, well, I think Griff will have some stuff to talk about, Urgathoa.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's some spoiler corner stuff for Gathoa, for sure.
So. All right. Well, any last words? Oh, Tyler, I suppose we should have you plug your stuff.
Oh, hey, my name's Tyler. I'm the game master for the MNmaxed podcast. That's MNmaxed podcast. We've finished a subpar run of Fall of Plaguestone. We've completed the Extinction Curse, and we are currently running through and have aired through the end of book 1 of the Bloodlords adventure path. And, yeah, come check us out, or don't. Whatever.
Dude, they are great. Tyler is underselling his run of Plaguestone.
Oh yeah, we were learning so many things when we were doing it. We were learning the system, which I went back and listened to a few episodes of Plaguestone. Half of the rulings that we made in those early episodes aren't even relevant anymore. They've either been eroded or going to be readjusted in the remaster, or there's just so many things.
Yeah. Well, that adventure itself it's.
But also,
Need some tweaking.
didn't you start that adventure like the release day of 2E?
It was the day after release. Yes.
Yeah.
I slammed the core rulebook as quickly as I could. Which, to anybody who's trying to learn the game, just read chapter 9. That's really all you need. Everything else falls into place after that. But yeah, it's a fun. I hope at least, friends around the table thing. If you want to just hear me do one-off things, I've done a couple of live stream adventures. Like I did one for Beetle and Grimm's and the Absalon Gold Box. I did one for Strange Table Fellow and Friends with the Feast of Ravenmore that we've been discussing. I think there's a few others I've done in that haven't aired, so I can't technically plug them. But anyways, you can just go search for me and you'll find something.
Gonna be on a Traveler run pretty soon, right?
Oh yeah, yep. We're gonna do a run of Traveler. I won't be running that one. I'll be playing in it. I'm excited and hope I make it out of character creation. Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
I don't have
Tyler and I
don't have a good history of keeping characters alive when I do get to play.
And Tyler and I are talking about something, shooting some ideas.
Oh, now that's teasing because I don't know.
Yeah, a little bit. That one's that one's in the very infantile stages.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one could be fun if we can manage to get that off the ground for sure.
Oh, is that what you were gonna message me about yesterday, Jason?
No, that's something different.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No problem. We'll have Tyler back.
Sometime.
Yeah, we'll have Tyler back for sure. For sure, at least once more. Well, maybe we'll see if we can't get you another one. There's a couple open spots.
I just want to talk about Rahadum and the laws of morality. Mortality.
Yeah.
Laws of mortality. But yeah, I just love talking about the universe. It's tons of fun and appreciate the invitation.
All right. See you guys.